see if anybody shows up. Oh man, I am tired. So I am on the road-ish again. I am actually headed to a 2-day job. I got like gunk on my mouth. Ooh, let's get rid of that. So I went on the Wanolo app. The good thing about using the Wanolo app, which is basically, like a temp agency in your pocket, is you don't have to go through like filling out applications and, waiting for an interview and all of that. And I just needed to pick up some work real quick. So I got a job, a 2-day job, and so I'm headed in the direction of that 2-day job, and it was about 2 hours from where I was after I got the car fixed. So, and then I'll just hang around there for the time of the job. It's called Wanolo, Thomas. It's W-O, let me pull it up. Wanolo. Let me see. Oops. There you go. Okay. I guess you can't see anything. But it's WONOLO. And it's basically like a little temp agency app where you can go in and look for jobs. And the more you do jobs and get like good reviews, the more jobs that become available to you. So yeah, it's a temp agency in an app basically, and it kind of simplifies the whole thing. It depends on who's looking for people. I remember one year with Nolo, I ended up working for Stitch Fix, and I don't know how many people heard of Stitch Fix, but Stitch Fix is basically like it's a app where you get sent packages of clothes, and a designer like sends you stuff every month or something like that. But I worked at their warehouse in California, like close to the holidays, like pretty consistently for almost 2 weeks one year. And it was like $20 an hour for those 2 weeks. So yeah, that was a pretty cool gig. Now I didn't get to put together any of the boxes. Basically all I was doing was like organizing clothes on racks. And like, at first they talked to me like this was hard. I'm like, okay, so you want me to organize this by like size? I think I got it. Like, I think I got it, so that was a pretty cool gig I had. So yeah, I worked for Stitch Fix for a little bit as a temporary employee near the holidays. So I figured I'd just like download the Wanolo app and look for stuff on there. So yeah. That's basically what's going on. I'm on my way to the same area in which the job is in. I am still in Oregon before anybody asks. Southern Projects, I'm sorry, I do not agree with you. Yes, if you properly bond with your dog, part of the training process is the bonding. Just because you get it, like the one dog my mom had to get rid of bonded with me, didn't bond with her. Mind you, this is the person that's buying the food, feeding it and all of that, and went after my mother. One dog, the only dog, and it hurt both of us to our soul that we had to let this dog go. My mom was trying to wake me up for school, and the dog would actually go after her and try to bite her. And we all lived in the house together. So like they're like anything else. They have various temperaments, moods, and they make their own decisions on things to a certain point. So I don't quite agree with you on that. But I think dogs are amazing. Like I used to pet sit, and I've probably pet sitted for so many different kinds of dogs with so many different kinds of personalities. And some of them loved me right away. They were like, oh, cool, great, let's go on a walk or let's hang out. And then there were other dogs where it's like I had to work to earn their trust to even start getting to a point where they trusted me. So like they're special little creatures. I freaking love dogs. Dogs are the best. I just, you know, cats are awesome too, though. Like, I didn't think I would like cats as much as I did until I had one. And oh my gosh, it's like they're so different from dogs in an essential way, but it's kind of cool watching how they are. But I think I'm just fascinated by animals in general. I know in my last live, somebody asked like what I wanted to be when I was younger, when I grew up, and I wanted to be a vet when I thought it would involve more like working with animals and less cutting them open. It's also really hard to become a vet. Like, I didn't think about this, but like when you're a people doctor, all you have to worry about is human biology. If you're an animal doctor, like being a vet, number one, isn't just limited to household pets. There's farm animals, there's zoo animals. So first of all, there's a lot of specialties underneath being a vet. And then like yeah, it was an interesting road. But I think, you know, could I go back in time? I think I would have been a lot more interested in animal behavior and animal training, because like I didn't like rats, and then I had a friend who had pet rats, and I did not realize how cool they kind of are. So like I had a friend in college who had pet rats. I got to interact with them, and at first I was like, okay, and I didn't realize how cool they are. They actually were really cool. Once I got used to the whole idea of pet rats, and I still don't know that I would want to own one, they were kind of fascinating to me. So I find all animals and animal behavior like fascinating, especially in the ways different animals are different. So yeah. Julianne says, I missed the begging. What job? I think you mean the beginning, or at least I hope you do. It's just a little temporary warehouse job for 2 days. They probably just had some extra work and they posted it in the Wanolo app and I signed up for it. Van Gogh de Gamma Betsy Reed says, catalytic converter, tell me if I should spend the money to have something to protect the catalytic converter on my new van. I looked up YouTube videos, but I'm still not convinced I should do it. Protect it. Better safe than sorry. Like, if there's anything you can do to protect your cat, especially with cat, it sounds weird saying that, cat as in catalytic converter, if there's anything you can do to prevent that being stolen, because it is a pain in the arse. Even if you have the money, there are people who are waiting to get cats for their vehicles. If you can do any sort of preventative measures to keep it from even being stolen, absolutely do it. It is worth it. You know, when I was at the what was I thinking? When I was at the dang it, it's all gone out of my head. Oh, when I was at the muffler place for replacing my catalytic converter, sorry, my brain is going blank. There were so many other people there trying to replace cats. Tina's Crazy Life says, I have 4 dogs. Awesome. I'm jealous. I wish I could have 4 dogs, but I'm going to be responsible, because my whole thing with dogs isn't about the dog. They're dogs that have been abused, that are loyal to their abusive owners. But that doesn't mean that abusive owner should have that dog. You know, like it's so sad when you see this loyal dog who's loyal to an abusive owner, and that abusive owner should definitely not have that dog, no matter how loyal that dog is. And then there are dogs who turn on their abusive owners. You just never know. Animals are animals, and they have so much going on. You know. Tina, what's up? Tina has a little dog called Buddy, and Buddy is apparently enjoying his stroller. Have you tried to sneak Buddy in anywhere in the stroller and anybody thought it was, like, how much stuff have you gotten away with? So I had this little tiny dog named Lady, and Lady was a trip. Like, Lady Lady just, she thought she ruled the universe, and she would actually walk down the street with me not on a leash, and she was so tiny it was actually awkward to have her on a leash, and she'd be walking down the street like, I'm in charge, I'm in charge. And then she would see a big dog because she was tiny, and she'd be like, never mind, pick me up, and she would just run to me, and I would like pick her up because she was so tiny. Like, I need to post pictures of Lady one day. She was the dog I had when I was a teenager, and she unfortunately passed away while I was in college. But I got her a stroller because I was like, oh well, you're so tiny. She would not get in that stroller. She was like, no, I walk on my 4 legs until I get scared of the big dogs, then I run to you. Pick me up. Oh my gosh, I loved Lady. Sarah says, I totally wanted to be a zoo animal vet. That would be really cool. Like, besides the actual vet part, but the idea of like interacting with animals, you know, different types of animals in the zoo would be really, really cool. I mean, it's a lot of education, but it's definitely a very, very cool job. Like, working in a zoo would have been amazing. ESP and me said, I wanted to be a vet too. I actually took pre-med in college. You rock. In order to do so. I don't know why I changed my mind. I got A's in biology. Sarah says, rats are so fun and cute. Yes, pet rats, not street rats. Unless they're Aladdin. Aladdin's adorable, but like pet rats that you can actually get from like a pet place. They are. I couldn't believe how much I like them. Like, I still wouldn't want to like have one just because, you know, I did some research on what you actually have to do to take care of them, and not because I was considering them, just because I was curious. And they definitely have their own things going on, but yeah, they were just, and it was cute. It was a white rat, and it was cute, and I was like, I didn't expect to like you, but I kind of like you. ESP and me says rats are quite intelligent. They can be trained like dogs. In fact, I think they're smarter than most dogs. Jose says, you know, Dawn, when I was in my 20s, I lived in Florida and I didn't have a place to stay. I dreamed about staying in a bus, getting me a bus and staying there. Now I'm 61 years old. Well, you can still like pursue that dream. There are older people who start older all the time. You know, you just have to like figure out how to get to your end game and do whatever you have to do to get there. Brenda says, my twin had 5 dogs at one time. That is a tall order. I'm a cat person. And also, how big were these dogs? Because the thing about dogs, like, people use dog as this general term. There are different size cats. Like a Maine Coon cat is a big cat, you know, but the range in sizes when you say cat has more of a set, you know, area of size. Whereas with dogs, you know, you can have something the size of a teacup and you can have something the size of a baby horse. Like, you can have a Great Dane. And so when I was doing pet sitting, I actually met a couple and they had a Great Dane and a small dog. I don't think it was a Chihuahua, but it was some sort of small little yappy dog. And they were like, yeah, the big guy is for like people to see it and get intimidated, and the little guy is the one that makes all the noise. And I thought it, because the Great Dane literally never barked. Like, that dog did not bark. And he was huge, and he was like the sweetest dog ever, but he never barked. And I don't think he would have attacked anybody ever. But people see a big dog and they're like, oh, there's a big dog. You know, there's something about seeing it. But like, that Great Dane never barked. He was like the most mellow dog ever. And the little dogs, of course, he got what do you call it, Napoleon complex. So he's like, you gotta know I'm here. Julianne says, Dawn, didn't you mention in one of your community posts that catalytic converters were being stolen in another country to use something inside it to make drugs? Yes. Whatever that honeycomb substance is, I forgot. It was a place in Africa. And it was one particular, I think it began with a Z. And yeah, they were breaking down like something in the catalytic converter to use as a drug. So yeah. Sarah says, we bought our cat in a bag into a Wawa. In Mount Rushmore, people were fascinated by the cat in the bag. That happens with Mickey in his backpack all the time. Like, I'll have Mickey in his backpack, and I will take him in the store, and people won't notice at first, and suddenly they'll realize a cat is in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything like that. Oh, Tina's telling me where she's taking her little dog in his stroller. She says she's taking him into the laundromat, the Walmart, the Dollar General, the Big Lots. The thing about the stroller, though, if you do buy a pet stroller, not every dog's gonna like it, you know. Not every cat is gonna like it. Like, a lot of people are like, my cat would not be in a backpack as chilled out as your cat is, and that's because I introduced it to him when he was a kitten. So rather you're training a cat or a dog to use like a carrier or a stroller or a backpack, if they don't like it at first, it's a good idea to just leave it laying around if you have the space for them to go into it at their leisure, to put treats in there with the door open, because basically what you want to do is you want to acclimate them to the fact that it's a positive place. And so if they haven't grown up with that and they're older, sometimes if you get like a stroller or carrier or something, your idea, it's a great idea, because you're like, oh, I'm going to put you in this. And especially if you have a small dog, and you're like, I'm going to get one of those cute little pet backpacks and carry you around. And the dog or the cat could be like, nah, I ain't doing that. You crazy. So like, if you do get any of those things, like, some animals will be really into it right away, some won't. So just give the animal time to acclimate to it as like a positive place. You may need to do that. Now, it sounds like Tina's buddy was just down. He was like, oh, this stroller thing's cool. But like, my little dog rejected the stroller. It turned it into a waste of money. Like, she would not ride in that thing. So yeah, just give like your animal the space to acclimate to these things. Sometimes if they adapt to it right away, it's a blessing, but sometimes they won't. So they are cool things to have, but just know your pet may not have the same idea about it as you do. Van Gogh says, I love pet sitting. I travel all over Florida. Yeah, before I had a pet, it's harder when you have a pet, but when I didn't have a pet, I used to love to pet sit, because it meant I got to play with everything. I wasn't restricted to one animal. I got to experience all these different animals. It actually taught me a lot more about animals than I think I would have learned in any other situation, so I really enjoyed it. But now I have to think about Mickey. So it's like, I can't, like, before there was a dog I used to walk, and he had to be walked with a muzzle because he just had bad reactions to other dogs. He loved humans, but he had bad reactions to other dogs, and I had to walk him with a muzzle. I know I like to repeat myself, God, but he was the sweetest dog ever. But if I had Mickey, I could not have taken that pet sitting job, because it required that I had no pet and I could stay in the house with this dog, you know, under his particular circumstances. So, and the owner, like, she took such good care of that dog. He had, unfortunately, had come from a bad situation, and he's such a sweetheart. Deborah on the Go says, hi, I had a shepherd for 14 years and she passed away. Oh, I'm sorry. I have 2 chihuahuas now. They are so close to the ground. They have way more work to train, to sit, stay, etc. Chihuahuas are not always the most trainable breeds, and I say this having met some really sweet ones. But I would say for the most part, Chihuahuas are very hard-headed. So are Dachshunds, which a lot of people don't realize. Dachshunds are the little hot dogs. I didn't realize that until, I started doing some research on dachshunds, because I had a half dachshund dog with my former roommate, and also used to pet sit a dachshund. And dachshunds are hard-headed. Those little dogs are hard-headed, and sometimes dogs aren't hard to train because they're stupid. They're actually smart enough to try to test your patience. So sometimes they aren't necessarily like stupid. Like, a dog that's fast to train, isn't necessarily smarter than a dog that's hard to train. The dog that's hard to train is just making you work for it. So, like, little dachshunds can be a pain in the butt. Chihuahuas are definitely an interesting breed. I've met some sweet ones. A good friend of mine has a Chihuahua, and that dog is like none of the stereotypes of Chihuahua. It's like none of them. It's just this is like one of the friendliest dogs I've met, and it's one of the few small dogs I've met that didn't have a Napoleon complex, but it was like very atypical for that breed. Sarah says, Grandma Builds a House is a great blog of an older woman who started in her 70s, I believe. There you go. Sometimes you may have to adjust your dream or your goal. Like, if you want to build out a box truck or have like an off-grid cabin or whatever, you may have to adjust your dream around like whatever your limitations are. There were definitely choices I made in this box truck just based on the limitations of money and time, but I was still determined to have a box truck. I was like, that is my dream, floor mat to have and build out sort of a tiny house in. And eventually I got there. I didn't get there the most ideal way, and I tripped a lot along the way, and people have like looked at me sideways like, are you crazy? But sometimes you just got to keep going towards a goal, and you can't let age be the reason not to do it. You only get, as far as we know, you get one chance at doing this whole life thing. So why not do the thing that you really want to do, and just find a way to do it. I'd rather die fighting for the thing I want than worrying about the reasons I couldn't do it. Southern Project says even the largest dog started out as a puppy. Yeah, but not all puppies are made equal. Like, there are puppies that are the same size as some small fully grown dog, which is really funny. When I was watching this husky puppy, and he was a puppy, he was a baby, and there was this older dog next door who was a small dog, and you could tell every time this husky puppy came out the house, this dog was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to deal with this 5-ton baby that's coming at me. Oh man. Lance Revel says the most dangerous dog in the world would be 100-pound Chihuahua. Yes. What's funny? I've met more like, not great temperament Chihuahuas than I've met pit bulls. Like, every pit bull I've met has been the sweetest dog I've ever met. Like, the sweetest, most lovable dog. I love when like their whole body shakes when they get excited, and everybody's scared of those dogs. And like, every single one I've ever met has been a sweetheart. In their own way. And like, these little Chihuahuas though, and like I said, I've met a few that were really sweet, but for the most part it's like, so yeah, if they actually got some height and weight, I'd be scared of Chihuahua. Alberta and Stella says, I have a golden doodle, and people say she's a big she's as big as a Great Dane. Oh, she's big. A Great Dane is huge. Yeah, a Great Dane is huge. A Great Dane is a freaking horse. Like, it's a baby horse. That's how big it is. It's a pony. If your kid wants a pony, get him a Great Dane. It's the same. Great Danes are big. Kelly, Tiny Dream Bus, what's up? I see you say, hey, Dawn and Mickey. Lorraine Kellner is recommended to Jose. You could buy a small schoolie with a lift and have someone build it out for you. It could change your life. Yes. Also, like, yeah, I mean, like, that's just a good suggestion. And also look for things that are already built. Like, people act like it's the worst thing in the world to get something that's already built. Maybe that's just the right choice for you. You know. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions to help Jose get his dream bus. All of these are good suggestions. Just take some time to, like, think about them. Thomas Thrift says, I want a pet so much, but my fear is that I would not be able to give quality time to the pet. So I'm guessing you mean I don't get a pet for that reason. And that's smart. Like, I have probably for years, I've wanted a pet. And I was like, I am not in the right situation to take care of the pet. And I think, like, that's why pet sitting really helped, because I got to, like, be around animals, but I wasn't, like, making a commitment I knew that I could not make. And, like, when I felt like I was ready to make that commitment, then I went ahead and did it. So I think it's very smart to say, I want this, but I know it's not the right time for it. You know, it's one thing if you already have your pet. Obviously, if you love your animal, you're going to do everything you can to take care of it, keep it, and make it work. But if you don't have one, being very careful about making that decision to commit, because, like I said, having a pet is like having a child that can't go people places. I'm at a truck stop and that was just loud out there. So basically, having a pet is like having a child that can't go people places. And so, like, you are going to run into a lot of restrictions, and, like, you have to decide how much you're going to flex your life around those restrictions. Like, there are jobs I will not take if it means I can't be sure that Mickey's going to be safe while I'm doing the job. There are temperatures that I can deal with. Like, I can deal with being hot. I can deal with being cold. I've been doing it for years. But if I feel like temperatures are affecting Mickey and Mickey being happy, like, that's a bigger deal for me. And it would be the same if I had a dog or a rat or a snake or whatever. If I take possession or, you know, am taking care of an animal, I feel a high dedication to make sure they're having a good life. Like, it's not just about me. So I think it's very smart to say, I want it, but I can't have it right now. And really being careful about when you cross that bridge, you know? Melissa says, I have 4 female dogs. Josie Wales is an Australian Shepherd mix. Willow is a full German Shepherd. Harley Quinn, I'm liking this, is a Chihuahua Jack Russell Terrier mix. I'd like to see how that looks. And Coco is an apple-faced toy Chihuahua. Sounds like you got a nice range of sizes there in your dogs. And I like these names. They're great. Paul Sherman, hello to you. I didn't know I was going live. I decided, like, I should have had a video ready for today. I didn't, so I was like, I'm in the mood, I'll go live. So I went live. Alberta and Stella, I don't know if that's both of you or one of you's online right now, but it says, I have a 10-year-old black and white Whippet and a 3-year-old golden doodle service dog. Freedom Dove, what's up? Gail Lynn says, me too, I'd love a dog, but I need one that doesn't poop. You need to get one of those robot dogs then. Unapologetically me said Yorkers are so smart. I had Lady, the little tiny dog I was talking about, she was a Yorkie. And yeah, she was a trip. I loved Lady. Lady was a trip. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear it. Alberta and Stella says, sorry to say, I can't stand chihuahuas. I was bit in the back of my knee by one. That sucks. Rescue Dog Treat says, so great to see a smile on your face. Truck must be running well. So far, so good. I'm going to be honest. Every time I go to put my keys in, I'm still nervous. Like, honestly, I'm still nervous. But I've realized, at some point I have to let go of that nervousness. It's not entirely gone. So, yeah, that's just the way it is right now. Trying to get back into the flow of life. ESPN says small dogs aren't harder to train than any other dog. The problem is most owners don't think to take small dogs to obedience school when they're puppies. People tend to only think big dogs need it. It's not about small dogs, but certain breeds of small dog do have, in general, sometimes a harder time. And that's also true with medium dogs and big dogs. Like, you really need to look up the breed. Like, Chow Chows are big dogs, and they also have tough temperaments. Like, they're a tough dog to train, as opposed to, and this doesn't mean you'll never have problems with a German Shepherd, but there's a reason German Shepherds are service dogs so much. They tend to adapt to training really well. Dachshunds and Chihuahuas don't, but that's not every small dog. There's plenty of small dogs with, like, better temperaments. So one, there's the individual personality of the dog, and two, there are certain specifications to certain breeds, Chihuahuas being one of them, where there is just a little bit more work involved. Now, the thing about having a Chihuahua is they're small enough that they aren't a huge threat to other people as much. Like, most human beings, if they felt threatened, could kick a Chihuahua. Doesn't mean their bites don't hurt, whereas some of the larger breeds that are harder to train can be more problematic if you don't take care of them when they're younger. So I think one of the reasons people tend to focus on training more with bigger dogs is that if something does go wrong, they're a bigger threat to other people. And whereas we tend to laugh at the little dogs when they're misbehaving, which doesn't help the situation, especially if they are one of those breeds that are harder to train. And that is just a truth. Like, certain breeds are just harder to train. Like, if you want a hunting dog, a hound is still a better dog to train for that than another type of dog. And it doesn't mean another dog, wouldn't do it or even instinctually be as good as a hound, but when you get that breed, there's just a certain thing about them that adapts better to that. For a long time, I don't agree with dog racing because I just think overall we found out a lot of it is cruel, but there was a reason greyhounds were used for it over other dogs, because there are certain specificities to a breed. And so I think if you have a certain breed, you should research any specificities having to do with that breed. Yeah, that's my spiel. Goddess Petunia says, is your ceiling wavy or warping, or is it just a camera angle? If so, is there a remedy? The reason why my ceiling looks like that is because I messed up with the insulation. That's why it looks like that. So beyond ripping it all down, which I might do at some point, it's just going to look like that. Sarah says, Huskies are so sassy. They are sassy. T-Berry says, yes, Dawn, I'm 66 and embarking on my dream of a 10-acre property with a little dwelling and a lot of hard work. My dream. Age won't stop me. You know, like if your legs still work and your arms still work and you can do something, you can always make steps toward your dream, you know? And the worst that happens is you were working on it, you know, and then unfortunately life ends, but at least it ends with you working towards it as opposed to dreaming about the things you didn't do. Nancy C16 asks how the truck is doing. It seems to be doing fine. It's not giving me any reason to be concerned, but honestly, because of the way the electrical problem happened, which was there was no sign, it just, you know, it just happened all of a sudden. You know, morning turned over fine like normal, that evening did not. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and just trying to let myself believe it's going to be okay, but there's part of me that doesn't. Lance says, every Chihuahua I've met has been a neurotic train wreck. Poor Chihuahuas, they just get... I feel like I hated on them too. I've met 2 nice Chihuahuas. The rest of them have been a neurotic mess. Oh my goodness, Chanel says I have 2 German Shepherds, Sushi and Bruno. Great names. I love it. Great dogs, big babies. Yes, German Shepherds are so sweet. They're just so big. Actually, the best dog I had growing up... Ew, what's that on my chin? Excuse me. I think it was just crumbs, but let's get it off. The best dog I had growing up was actually half German Shepherd. Dog was named Sparky, and Sparky was my childhood dog. I had Lady and Missy while I was a teenager, but my childhood dog was Sparky, and Sparky was half German Shepherd and half we don't know. We know for a fact her daddy was a German Shepherd, and that was the best dog I had. Like, that dog was loyal. Like, watch the house, would let you know the second somebody was like on the porch. That was a great dog. I love it. My heart broke when Sparky's legs went out, and then had to be taken to the vet and did not come home. Thomas Thrift, thank you for the delayed happy birthday. I'm reading. FDM215 says you're gonna have that feeling for a while. Fingers crossed that the repair did the trick. Exactly. Like, I know I'm gonna have to like let go of the fear, but right now it's like, I'm nervous. Liz Carter, I'm probably late, but thank you for the $5 super chat. Says just got here. Hope all is well. We'll watch the whole live later. Just took daughter grandbabies and the new guinea pig home. Congrats on giving that new guinea pig a home. Carolyn Freebird says, I have 2 little canine girl fur babies who love to travel. BB is my little tomboy Springer Spaniel mix, and May May is my little cuddle bunny lover pup who is a bit of a princess. Oh, they sound adorable. Princess Pamela, I'm still nervous too, and always check under the van to see if the catalytic converter is still there. Geez, I hope this goes away. I think eventually you relax about it. Cause like I wasn't super sensitive about noises outside of my van until after the cat got stolen, and then once the catalytic converter got stolen, like I was so nervous about noise outside the van, you know. Brandy Johnson said, "Me and my daughter finally getting a Yorkie. I hope they both don't drive me crazy." Meaning my 5-year-old daughter and the Yorkie. Yorkies are a trip. At least if I base it on like the Yorkie that I had, Lady, my little Yorkie. Just remember, like, a dog is a dog. You still need to focus on the training when you first get them. And like it's easier, honestly, to slip up with the little dogs because you just find them funny. Like when they're trying to be dogs. Like you can't take them serious, so it's easy to find them funny. Sister Hatchet said, "My little sisty's 15 now, half Jack Russell, half Chihuahua. Full-blooded stubborn." Oh, she got the Chihuahua stubbornness. Nomadic Nanny says, "Doing a van building, your videos have been a great resource. Also, any advice on being a YouTuber is welcome. LOL, thank you." I would say the best way to start YouTube is to just make videos that make you happy. It's easy to get stressed out about how many hits and views and all this other stuff you're getting and get caught up in the numbers. But especially early on, just keep making videos. Just keep showing YouTube who you are, because the thing is, you just want to have a library of videos. If somebody's first video is your 10th video, you want them to like you so much they want to go watch 1 through 9. Also, like, always try to improve, like, your editing, your equipment, all that other stuff, but don't obsess over it in the beginning. Just make videos and have fun doing it, you know, and, like, don't let yourself get so caught up in the numbers that your content stops being you and starts being about what's popular and what's going to get you, like, hits and all that other stuff. Sean H says, "The issue is usually the owner's fault for bad dog behavior." Here's the thing, though. Some dogs are on their second or third owner, you know? So I think, like, throwing out that blanket statement says if somebody has a dog who does something wrong, it's the owner's fault. One, there are people who are well-intentioned and inexperienced, and they just don't know better. So they slip up on the puppy training, and then suddenly they have this 5-year-old dog where they're trying to backtrack and train it. That person, you know, it happened without them really thinking about it. Second of all, dog temperament is real. So, like, if somebody had a different dog with a different temperament, and then I have this other dog, I don't want to. And then there's also people who rescue dogs who have come from bad situations, and so they're trying to do corrective training, but it doesn't happen overnight. And sometimes the dog is who they are, you know, and you have to work around the dog. Like I said, I used to walk a dog that had to be walked with a muzzle. That was the condition to that dog not being put down. And even though it had a good owner now, that owner could do nothing about that dog's history. And I actually considered it amicable that she was dedicated enough to this dog to work within the things she couldn't change. So yes, bad owners, but some dogs have had multiple owners. So, you know, it's a difficult thing to say. And also, like I said, dogs have different temperaments. My mom did nothing to the chow that we had to let go. Nothing except try to wake me up for school, and the dog decided it needed to protect me from my own mother. You know, and my mom was like, "Unfortunately, we can't have a dog in the house that might attack me." You know, and so, yes and no. I think it's kind of a hard blanket statement to say, like, I don't want to say a bad dog, but bad dog behavior comes from bad owners. There are plenty of well-intentioned owners who unfortunately just haven't been prepared for the type of dog they have. And then they can either decide that they're not right for that dog and try to responsibly rehome it, or, you know, try to teach themselves how to make a corrective situation with the dog. But it may always be that you have a dog that you have to be very careful with around people. It may be that you always have a dog that can't go running around in the dog park with other dogs, and you may just have to deal with that as part of the dog you have and wanting to, you know, keep that dog, you know. So yeah. Van Gogh, thank you for the $3 super chat and the adorable little sticker. How's it going? Hopefully it's going okay. This has become the dog chat. I don't even have a dog right now. I've had many dogs in my lifetime, and I don't even have a dog right now. Deborah on the Go says, are you going to go to any more meetups this winter? I am unsure. At this point, everything's a question of money situation, because, like, if something is really far away, probably not. If it seems like I could, you know, drive there, you know. Also, it depends on what I decide to do for work in the next couple of months. Like, I have a plan, but I'm using Wanolo as basically a gap filler right now, but I would like to get something like holiday, but I also want to be in a particular area when I do that. So that's sort of what it's about right now. I can't answer that question. Basically, I don't have anything planned. Sharon Bolton says, good evening, Dawn. My granddaughter has a Maine Coon cat. That's a big cat. And a mini rat terrier, so a little dog. To watch them play is so funny. I always find it funny when the dog and the cat are either the same size or the cat is bigger than the dog. And I have met dogs that my cat is bigger than, and I don't even have the biggest cat in the world. And I find it hilarious when the cat is bigger than the dog, because it's such a difference in stereotype. Sean, thank you for the $10 super chat. Sean says, thanks, Dawn, for all the humor and great on the road tips. The video the other day on how to live on the road was fantastic. Thank you so much. I got some people rolling out saying good night. I'm probably going to be online for like another 15 or so minutes. Unapologetically Me says, I have a Yorkie. His name is Beast. That's adorable. Martin at 1 says, I adopted a Palm Chihuahua mix, 14 pounds. So sweet. He's 11 or 12 now. There we go. Somebody fighting for the little dogs. Martin 01 says pets are a lifetime commitment. Exactly. Like, I know some people got upset at me for my comment about dogs, but that wasn't my whole thing. Is like, be committed to what it means to have a pet. I don't care if it's a dog, a cat, a rat, a ferret, a snake, a turtle. I don't care. Just, like, be 100% committed to going into that situation. Like, that was my only point. Like, a dog for security to me is wrong. Having a dog and saying I feel more secure because I have my dog is a different thing. And I feel like people suggest dogs without thinking out everything that it means to have a dog. Like, oh, it looks cute on YouTube and we're running around. But like, when you get to that campground that doesn't allow dogs, or you can't take your dog in the store with you, or like you unfortunately didn't prepare for the cold, and suddenly not only are you dealing with yourself, but you're dealing with this animal in the cold or the heat or the whatever inside a vehicle, like that is a huge commitment. As long as you're prepared to deal with that commitment, as long as you're like, you know what, if I need to get a hotel room for my dog, for my cat, for my whatever, fine. You are fully committed to what it means to have the animal with you. And for me, it's about the commitment to the animal, not what the animal can do for you. And I think a lot of people misunderstood that, and they were like, I'm going to defend the fact I have a dog in my van. And I'm like, that's fine, as long as you are committed to it. What I don't like is when people suggest it to people who haven't shown any interest or commitment because it's good security. It's not a security system, it's an animal, you know, and it's a huge commitment. Where's Mickey? Let's see if I can get him on camera. Don't judge me, my bed's not made up, but there's Mickey. Hi, Mickey, you glad to be back in your van? Hmm? Yeah, everybody on YouTube wants to see you. Are you just chilling? Huh? You just chilling, my baby? Yeah. You're like, yeah, I was just chilling. And then you bothered me, Mama. You bothered me. You bothered me. I was just chilling. I'm just a happy boy chilling. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Alright, that's the real star of the show, Mr. Mickey Boy. Let's sit this back down. Alright. FDM215 is kind of like talking about what I was talking about. Friend adopted a rescue chihuahua from a shelter. She was sweet with him, but very nervous and reactive on walks. And I think it is so admirable when you get a pet from a shelter. And the thing is, they come with history. And sometimes you can get them to let go of some of that history. Sometimes you can get them to let go of all of that history, but it is sort of like that history is part of their life, you know, on this planet. And, you know, it's admirable when people are like, you know, we're going to take this one day at a time, you know. Deborah on the Go says, breaking down is a big fear of mine. No one's going to rescue me. Even with emergency funds, more than one bad issue could leave one stranded. I hope my video didn't make people scared. It's more an awareness video, more like think about these things video. Yes, you could break down, but that's why you have the emergency fund. And yes, somebody will rescue you. It's called the tow truck. You know, that's why you have those funds there. And so, like, just feel like you're doing the things to protect you. There's been plenty of situations where I didn't know how I was going to get out of them, and somehow now they're in the past. And now they're just stories. And hopefully one day, I'll be all comfortable again, and this will just be a story, you know, the story of the many weeks I spent without my car being able to turn over. But somebody will rescue you. Now, it may be rescuing you have to pay for, but that's what the emergency fund is for. Like, if you know you can always call your dad or your mom or your cousin or your sister or your brother, it's nice to know that that exists. Like, they will come get you if worse comes to worse. If you don't have that, all you can do is try to have your best financial preparedness. You can try to build a circle of friends that you think you can depend on. I have the list of people who get my spot notifications when I settle down for the night. I'm not related to any of them. They're just people I asked. I was like, hey, can you be one of my check-in people just to say this is where I am, I'm safe. And like, you know, I had a list of people who say, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. There is somebody. It may be somebody you got to pay for to come out and get you, but that's why you pay for roadside services. And it can feel like a waste of money. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to pay this huge fee to have this service that I never use. Well, the most ideal situation is you have the service and you never use it. The most ideal situation is you have the emergency fund and you never use it. And you can't be scared or you'll never get back out there. Like, that's what I'm working toward right now. You can't be scared or you'll never get out there. And so it's a choice between never going out there or getting over the fear. Yeah. That was so rambly. Jen Halliburton. Oh, this is a sad story. My oldest boy was attacked by someone else's dog as a puppy. He now hates all other dogs. I still love him, so we just stay apart. It's him and his girl. Oh, that's so sad. Carolyn Freebird says, one good way to try and reduce the risk of breakdowns is to keep up on a really good maintenance schedule and repair as needed without delay. Absolutely. So I told the story of my radiator problem when I got to Ashland. Here's the thing. I knew I needed to replace that radiator, but it was still working, so I was like, I'm going to try to wait till I have this amount of money saved up. And I should have fixed it the second I knew that it existed. But I was like, oh, I think I can skate by a few more months and try to put some more money in. And even though it would have broke me, it would have saved me more to have spent the money the second I was aware, as opposed to trying to wait. One thing I did used to do, though, and I still do it, it's just harder with the box truck because I can go anywhere and do it when I had like the minivan and the regular Chevy van. But I used to just get checks. You know, every once in a while, I just got a full check. If I knew I was going to do a long drive, I got a full check if it had been months. Just go and pay for a full check on the vehicle and just have somebody look at it. So at least if there's anything that an inspection could catch while you're owning it, like we tell people to get inspections before they buy a used vehicle, but you can also just get them periodically while you own the vehicle, especially if you're traveling heavily in it. Now, if it's just your commuter vehicle, you still should keep up on your maintenance, but you're not doing long trips in this vehicle on a consistent basis, or you're not living in it full time. And when you are, just spending that money to get an inspection every once in a while isn't a bad idea, you know, because it did let me catch things. And sometimes shit happens, for lack of a better way of saying it. Sometimes shit happens. Sometimes you did everything right and shit still happens. And that's just life. Crypto Gather says, new follower over here. How does your cat do with traveling? Do you have a routine when you are getting ready to go? Have you had to use medication? Do you find that the cat adapts to traveling over time? Here's the thing. I got Mickey when he was 6 weeks old and I lived in a van. So his whole reality has been living in a van. I don't use medication. I don't do anything. He's fine. The reason why some cats hate traveling is because the only time people put him in the car is to go to the vet. And that's not his life. That's not been his life. His vehicle is his home, and that's always been the norm for him since he was a 6-week-old kitten. So no, I don't. I just go and usually he'll come and go underneath my seat, and that's just where he hangs out for the length of the ride. If you do have a cat that lives in a house, you are not going to be able, more than likely, to instantly, get them used to traveling. You might have to work at smaller intervals. Now, I will say, when I first got Mickey when he was a kitten, we did not drive across the country. Eventually we did, but at first, it was short trips, because I was in Baltimore. That's where I got him. I got him from Baltimore, Maryland, and it was short trips. We didn't go that far. So he got used to the idea that he was in this moving house, but it's also his house. So, it's not this foreign object he's being put in and being taken from his house to go there. So yeah, he's just used to being in a moving vehicle as his home. Ann and Gigi, what's up? Carolyn Freebird says, how are you liking Oregon, Dawn? It's pretty, but right now it's just raining too much. It's raining all the time. Brightful Five says your picture is still all over Wanolo, which is funny. I haven't taken Wanolo jobs in so long that they actually kicked me off the app. So I had to like reapply on the app to get the job that I have in a couple of days. Rescue Dog Treat says, I currently have a rescue turtle that I've had since 1998. Turtles and birds need to be in your will if you get one, because they are going to be owned by your family members for generations. Unless they get, if they live out their natural life, you need to be like ready to put them in your will and decide who's going to inherit them, because they are a huge commitment. Those things just stick around. John, thank you for the, my battery's like, I'm gonna die soon. So I definitely am gonna be wrapping this up soon. But John, thank you for the $5 super chat. So I'm gonna do a fast scroll. Janice says, oh, Mickey, he is so disinterested in any of us, like a proper cat. I can see this, a lot of these comments came in while I was showing Mickey off. I'm scrolling to see if there's any questions in here I want to jump on. Janet says, for sure an emergency fund is a necessity, but one should plan for predictable costs as well. Putting away for a tire fund at the moment. Yeah, and that's a lot of people want these huge vehicles and they don't realize, like, your tires are going to cost you some cash now. Like, once you get into a big vehicle, and I have 6 freaking tires now. So yeah. But it also depends on, like, people think van dweller means you need to travel all the time, all over the place, really, really far. And what I find is, if I need to be in a tiny little zone for a while to build up money, or like not too much, put too much stress on the vehicle, I can do that and live fine. I'm home either way. I'm home whether I'm jumping state to state or just staying very close to one spot. Roxanne, I have not been to Ohio. Freedom Dove, Lemon Squad is great when you're buying the vehicle, but I'm just talking about like just casual inspections at an auto shop every once in a while. Not so much like having like a pre-buy inspection, just like go to an auto shop. A lot of times the inspections don't cost that much, at least not comparison to, a huge repair that you weren't expecting to come on something that wasn't standard maintenance. So yeah, I'm just talking about pulling into an auto shop, asking them, what they charge for an inspection before a big trip, and just letting them do the inspection. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Luminia. And it says, Dawn, I'm so happy I caught you live. I'm glad you caught me too. Bruce Davidson, thank you for the $5 super chat. Alrighty, I'm going to wrap up the chat for the night because we're just a little bit over the hour, and I see a lot of people saying good night and I'm going to bed. And I kind of want to go to bed too. So wish me luck heading down the road. like I said, right now nothing has gone wrong. It's been turning over every single time. So yeah, I'm just holding my breath and getting her rolling. And hopefully this little job I picked up for a couple of days isn't gonna suck. I hope not. And I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks to everybody who popped in for this impromptu chat. Bye. Mickey says bye too. Like, not really. He just, let me see. Can we get him? There he is. He changed positions because I messed with him. Say goodnight, Mickey. Say goodnight.